I'm sure Mike McCarthy is hoping for the best this evening in Oxnard, California, as he has asked these guys to not fight, but we had quite a fight day. It was Sam Williams having a little extracurricular and kind of a one-on-one with Hoffman. He's following Hoffman back to the offensive line thing, kind of swiping at him. And Biotish steps in and drills him. It was like Golden Tate Sean Lee. Not quite that bad. I mean, Sean Lee got horizontal 10 feet in the air.
Well, he blindsided him.
But he did drill him.
That was a decleating.
Yeah, he did. He hit him. He hit him in the left shoulder to the point where it knocked Williams back to where, like, basically his head, then shoulders hit the ground.
I mean, concussion, broken rib, hand injury. There's all kinds of stuff that could happen
Collarbone.
there. I bet Biotish regrets it. I understand why he wanted to step in there. If you see the video, you're like, hey, get off my guy. But you can't say get off my guy and then blindside a guy next week.
Not your own teammate, you can't.
No, that's joint practice type of behavior there from Biotish. I mean, I'd be pretty happy with the decleating performance of myself, especially because Biotish is usually on the receiving end. Maybe that's why he decided to go with the cheap shot this time instead of the face-to-face. But a few plays later, he's going after Micah Parsons and went nose-to-nose with Micah, and once again, he had the worst of it. Micah was doing like a jumping halo spinner slapping to the side of the helmet that was quite effective, and Biotish was just, kind of standing there trying to push. But it was definitely a pretty big fisticuff day there in Oxnard at Cowboys camp. The cool thing was, at one point, hopefully Skip Bayless sees this, Dak pulled Micah aside, walked with him arm around, had some words for him, and then actually pushed him back towards the defense as he was trying to, calm things down. And then afterwards, apparently, Micah addressed the team.
He did. So Micah closed the practice, said, hey, guys, let's just come back together. We love each other, and let's go win a championship. And J-Ron Kurtz was talking about it afterwards, saying, hey, this happens. You get good work in. It's competitive. We're going to be doing this to other teams come September. They're going to get a taste of some of this.
My favorite part of all this is seeing the ensuing videos where there was no fighting, and it was just Micah Parsons playing with his hair even on more fire than what we've been accustomed to seeing him, where he's just wrecking practice every day. It seems like he took that up an even higher notch to where every ensuing highlight I saw on Twitter was him spin-moving sack, mowing through the lineman, bull rush, sack, blowing up a run play 6 yards in the backfield when they tried to go outside to Pollard on his side. It was just like Micah Parsons was like, okay, if you're going to come after my guys, watch how I just ruined the entire rest of your day offense.
He made Matt Waletzko look terrible.
Was it the bull rush?
That was the bull rush.
Yeah.
And he put Waletzko on his butt.
I think Waletzko is still trying to be pulled out from the Oxnard grass there.
So I get it if I'm Tyler Biotish, right? I mean, I think the defensive line's been whooping their ass for the majority of the last 2 weeks. I like seeing that fight from my offensive lineman personally.
I do. I think he stepped in a little bit too quickly. Like, something was clearly about to happen there between Sam Williams and that other lineman, but Biotish didn't let it get there. He stepped in sort of before that.
Hoffman.
I think he needed to wait like another 5 seconds, let something actually really start to happen, and then come, have your guys back.
Hey, that's easy for us watching the video. In the moment, your adrenaline's pumping. I think Biotish, he's trying to hold his own for the offense.
The levels are high, man.
I was talking to you guys at the break about, because a couple hours ago, the Diggs interception.
Yeah.
I think that might have been a self-inflicted thing with the way we talk about scheme and how they do things, and I'm watching it again because they bring Cooks down inside, and they're on the 5-yard lines. They bring Cooks inside like they're going to run that pick. Like, remember when they ran the 2-point play where they ran Cooks inside, he picked, and then they got Ferguson to release, and he was wide open?
Yeah.
Well, it's like they didn't. They brought a boat, but they brought Diggs down inside, and he just jumped the route on Dak. Dak's trying to throw the ball inside to Hendershot. And you're watching, I'm thinking, man, that's kind of self-inflicted. Why do you want to bring a defender in where you're going to throw the ball? So I hope that they look at that and they say, oh, maybe that's on us for, keep Diggs or anybody outside there and, don't bring him in, because he saw what Dak was doing. He's going to throw the ball inside to Hendershot, and he jumped it. And then, here you are on the 5-yard line. Again, another one of those red zone interceptions.
Nothing worse than a teammate bringing his defender to you.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. They're bringing the defender, a better defender inside.
Yeah.
Give your guy space.
Yeah.
There's been some really good design of some plays. That one I would kind of, if I was McCarthy when we were sitting down watching it, like, why do we bring one of their better ball hawking defensive backs inside. Keep him outside. Keep him as far away from the ball as we can. But I don't know, man.
I think that's a great teaching moment there, and you bring up a good point. I mean, I know people want to jump on Dak for the interceptions, but that's what this practice is about.
Yeah.
Offensively and defensively, you're seeing, hey, is this a good play call? Should we tweak this? Should we throw this one out, right? And that's a learning experience right there.
Well, that's the one thing when you start to talk about Dak throwing interceptions. Is it self-inflicted? Is it not seeing guys? Or is it just stupid design by us?
Sure, and sometimes you get that. I do wonder on a play like that. Should Dak be like, okay, the defender came inside, so this is now not the guy that I want to. Yeah, this is not now the guy that I want to throw it to. Is there any other option in the route, or did he just know?
He went right towards, and then give Diggs credit. He jumped it. He knew it. He's like, okay, you can throw it right there. Boom, jump it. And then now you don't get points. It's unfortunate.
That was Diggs pick 6 today.
Maybe Dak tucks it and runs in a real game.
You definitely do not want to be throwing picks inside the 5-yard line.
Well, it's happened a couple of times in these practices, and you don't. The one time he didn't see Vander Esch. This one, I think, this was just poor design.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not trying to give Dak any. I'm just saying, if you're going to throw the ball, don't bring defenders to where you're going to throw the ball.
Well, I think everything's going to be fine with Dak learning the offense, but there is a learning curve. When he first stepped into the NFL, it was the worst practices from a quarterback. Like, he was as bad as Jameel Showers in 2016 in training camp until you got to the preseason. There might be a gamer factor of this. There might be a trial and error, like you guys are saying, of, hey, we're trying a bunch of different plays, and some of these, there needs to be a very significant mental adjustment. Some got to go. But I would not be surprised at all if Dak the gamer is sort of going through the process of figuring it out in practice, and because I think it's probably the most mistakes we've seen since his rookie training camp. David Hellman with a tweet here, Brian. What do you think about this? He says, it's a scary thought that's been bouncing around my brain for months, and Zach Martin's return to the roster hammered it home. If the Cowboys can't put together a run with this team in this NFC, then when exactly is it going to happen?
Wow.
It's David Hellman, formerly DallasCowboys.com, now with Fox.
Yeah.
Hope they get him back on that show. They needed his personality there, his witty sense of humor. And even though he's a little bit too much of a Dak stand for me, I think his takes are great. His defense is the best. I think David Hellman defends Dak the best.
He does.
Yeah,
he does. He's got things that he really believes in the quarterback, and and that, a lot of people do, and good for him.
Yeah.
I will say this though, that he does bring up an interesting point, because to me, with now Aaron Rodgers leaving the conference, we talk about the best teams. We feel like, the Cowboys, the Niners, the Eagles. Dak playing the Eagles, we feel like that's a good opportunity right there. You always have a shot there. 49ers hasn't been as much. But, yeah, if something happens where this team does go like 9-8, they get in the wild card, they have to play at Detroit, and it doesn't – when are they going to have a better shot? When are they going to have a better shot?
If they fail this year, and especially if they don't make the playoffs,
this division or this conference will figure out a way to draft quarterbacks. All of a sudden, what if the guy at Carolina gets good?
Absolutely.
What if all these quarterbacks all of a sudden they start being better in the conference?
Justin Fields all of a sudden steps up.
Exactly.
I mean, I think you're right. You've got to seize the moment right now. You could look back on it and say it's the most disappointing season in Cowboys history.
If they don't, if
they go like 8-9, they don't make the playoffs
9-8, and get beat in the first round of the playoffs.
I mean, especially with this roster. I mean, you could say this is the best Cowboys roster since 2007, maybe.
Yeah.
I think so. Those 2007 teams, I don't think you knew that Romo was going to be as good as he was. Maybe 2009, that was fantastic as well. You had, Terrence Newman, Mike Jenkins played well. You had Brady James and Keith Brooking, and Ratliff had come together, Spencer and Ware. That was a really good defense too. But I'll take this team. I think the thing is it's quarterback and team building. And you got to know how your quarterback relates to that. And I just don't know that the organization knows how important it is to be able to, dominate the line of scrimmage to win a Super Bowl, for example. Like last year, they went into the season without a good plan to do it. Not only was the offensive line pretty weak, but their tackles were weak and unproven. In the middle of the season, they're like, oh, let's get Hankins. And they're like, okay, let's get Mozzie. So the light bulb's coming on in some ways. But, to me, to answer David Hellman, when they draft a Hall of Fame quarterback. They can say, hey, my name's Patrick Mahomes or Joe Burrow, and I know you guys aren't very good, but trust me, I got this. And then he goes out and starts making plays and winning games to prove it. you know? And I know Dak did that his rookie year. He goes famously to Pittsburgh and Green Bay. Huge games on the road. It's like, oh, wow, look at this. You know, what's this? That team hadn't been winning big games on the road for 5-6 years up to that point. And, you know, Dak did it. But that's because the formula was in line with the kind of player that he is. And I don't think it's been in line since 2016, Chief. How about you? If not now, when?
I think you're pretty. I think you got it nailed when it comes to the way they're building this team. And I don't know, because the conference right now is as open as it could possibly be. And so if you're not doing it now, I mean, is it the quarterback? Is it the coach? You know, what can be tweaked there? I think the offensive line is a huge thing, no question. But yeah, the way you build these teams, you have to either do it with a rookie quarterback, or you have to have a guy that is so amazing Hall of Fame level, which is borderline, you know, it's borderline unrealistic. You luck into these things. You luck into Pat Mahomes, you luck into Joe Burrow. Yeah, Troy, like that's, if you get one, kudos to you, but you really need to figure out, if you're the front office, you can, it's much more doable for you to say, take it upon myself to say, as a team builder, I'm going to go just buy whatever I can to build a great roster and help whatever level of quarterback I have at the time. I can't just snap my fingers and create a Hall of Fame quarterback.
No.
I can sort of snap my fingers and build an offensive line and build out a roster, but you have to be willing to do certain things when it comes to the salary cap. And they're not that way. So with their mindset, I'm with you. They're going to have a Hall of Fame quarterback.
You know, they would need injuries to 2 NFC teams and 3 AFC teams this year. I think they're probably the 6th best team in the NFL going into this year. And so you got to win the war of attrition. And maybe you can do that to win a division, but depending on that for like 5 teams that are built better than you, it's tough. Gavin, here you go with your wacky sports takes. Please let Wolchuk and Broadus talk sports. Hey, if you think this is a contender, have at it. I would bet your ass a lot of money this team is not winning the Super Bowl anytime soon with this kind of roster construction. The Cowboys build rosters to maximize revenue, not their chances of winning the Super Bowl. And that's something that I think is well established at this point.
Yeah, if you just look through the conference of the teams that probably after this season can make quarterback changes, Commanders, what's going on in Minnesota right now, right? You know, that guy's up, his contract's up, right?
Yeah, Kirk Cousins will be a free agent.
So we see there, Green Bay might not be in the right situation. Chicago looks set. Tampa, New Orleans, Atlanta could be. I mean, you know, Seattle. I know Seattle extended their guy. Rams, Arizona. I mean, they're teams that are going to have to. You got to strike while all these teams are trying to figure out their quarterback situations.
Yeah,
you know, that's where you're at right now, and. You know, but like I said, I'm coming over to your side about things. You better figure out the offensive line stuff here with the Cowboys.
Well, a great topic from David Hillman. Salute to him, and we look forward to his continuing coverage of the Cowboys and several other stories. And there's, in addition, to Cowboys Twitter.